Alright guys, welcome back to Days of Darkness and welcome to my review of Evil Dead Rise. This one came out in 2023. It is starring Lily Sullivan, Alyssa Sutherland, and Nell Fisher, and was directed by Lee Cronin. Motherfucker, god damn, it feels good to be back. It feels fucking great. This feels so fucking good, and yeah, if you notice me being a little more chipper than usual, that's why, and get used to it, because I don't see it changing anytime soon. Now, let's talk about this fucking movie. Fantastic, you know. It's been a while, but for those of you who watched the other Evil Dead reviews, there's not a movie in this franchise that I dislike, but you know, there are ones that definitely don't hit the mark for me, and I talked about in my review, my 100th review for Evil Dead 2013, that I really feel like they got back to the roots of what made that original Evil Dead so fucking good. And man, they just carried that momentum right over into this one. And for that to happen 10 years later, from 2013 all the way to 2023, that's fucking impressive. That is fucking impressive. And they did it. This movie's just absolutely fucking awesome. It lives up to that Evil Dead moniker, in my opinion. I also love the fact that we are in a very unique location. It's not, you know, obviously Army of Darkness brought us to some unique locations for Evil Dead as well, but for the most part, we've been stuck in the woods. And for this one to go into this high-rise apartment is just such a fucking cool idea. And I love that they really do stay true to the traditional elements of Evil Dead while completely switching shit up. You know, the idea of being in that isolated location and not being able to leave, and how they utilize that in the movie with the earthquake. And, you know, it knocks out the stairs and it completely fucks up the elevator. And the elevator is a whole other fucking issue altogether in this movie. But it just really, I really like the fact that they, even with the location change, they really stayed true to that original Evil Dead feel of just being trapped with this fucking just unbelievable evil. Also, a thing I really got to give this movie props for is the characters. You know, man, I said the same thing about Evil Dead 2013, and I think the characters in this are even better, man. And that's saying a lot, because I really liked the characters in 2013. But man, first of all, we have Beth, the guitar tech for a touring band, and she finds out that she is pregnant. She's pregnant, and she got knocked up, and now she's kind of freaking out, and it's clear that she is the sister, which we'll talk about Ellie in a second, but it's clear that she's the sister who never really has all her shit together, you know? She's always been kind of, not a fuck up, but she's been, I guess, I don't want to say irresponsible, but she's just never had her ducks in a row, you know? So she has always kind of leaned on her sister, Ellie, and has always kind of relied on her for help in a lot of cases. So, you know, she goes to Ellie to get some help with this very serious situation. And, you know, while being on the road and being so focused on this promotion she's trying to get, I forget the terminology that she uses, but she's trying to get some big promotion and like head technician or something, and she'd be like the first female in her band to do it, or field, or whatever, but she's trying to get this big ass promotion, and so she just hasn't been really paying attention. Meanwhile, Ellie's fucking husband or boyfriend or whatever, I guess, yeah, husband, I can't remember if they say, but it doesn't really matter, the baby daddy fucking walks out on Ellie and her 3 kids. And it's like, holy fuck, man. So Ellie's trying to call Beth and trying to, you know, get some help, or at least have someone to talk to. And Beth's just not available, you know? And so when she gets there and she finds all this shit out, and it's like, there's some tension there, man. And, you know, I really like the fact that they really paid attention to, like, getting you invested in these characters. Not only that, because it's clear they still love each other, but there's some tension there, you know? And not only that, but, you know, Ellie's relationship with her kids and Beth's relationship with Ellie's kids as well. And they just spend a lot of time really showcasing the fact that this is a really tight-knit family, you know? It's like they have their problems, sure, like anybody else, but at the end of the day, they all love each other very much, and it makes what's about to happen all the more tragic, you know? I always say it's valuable to really spend time on characters and really, you know, show these people in the regular world and in their regular lives to some degree before you get the horror started, you know? You know, even if it's just minimal effort, which I wouldn't define this here as minimal effort, but even if it's the most minimal amount of effort, you know, take like a Friday the 13th part 4. You know, those characters, really there's nothing to write home about, but they all have their little quirks and their little things that make them unique and make them stand out and make them entertaining. So once the killing begins, they don't just feel like bodies. And that is even more so with Evil Dead Rise. Because once, you know, Ellie inevitably becomes possessed by the Kandarian demons, yeah, man, it fucking packs a punch, no doubt. Also, before we get into the Deadite side of things, I gotta give a shout out to the side characters too. None of which I remember their names, but all of them were really cool. I love them knocking on the door and Bridget opens up and he goes, "Hey, our parents aren't home. We're gonna watch all the Freddy movies." And the little kid's like, "Even the shitty ones." And he's like, "There are no shitty ones." He's wrong, by the way. There are definitely shitty ones. But nonetheless, just really, really cool side characters too. And you really get a sense of what living in this apartment is like, which I really, really loved. But yeah, man, as I previously mentioned, we gotta talk about the motherfucking Deadites in this movie, dude. Because like I said, Evil Dead Rise 100% lives up to that Evil Dead moniker. And one of the most important parts of that is making your fucking Deadites right. Getting your Deadites right, damn it. And holy fuck. Dude, this movie's fucking villains are so good. First of all, we gotta talk about Beth, man. So, you know, Danny, being the curious young lad he is, ends up swiping one of the Necronomicons, or one of the Books of the Dead, or whatever you want to call it, that he found that was just in a vault in this bank. And the initial reason he went in there was, you know, they're about to lose their fucking home. They need some money. So he's like, all right, well, this shit's probably been here for fucking ever. I doubt anybody has it, you know, invested. So fuck it. I'm going to go in here and try to get some money. But this big earthquake hits, so he makes this crack in this fucking vault. So he climbs in there looking for some cash. And he does not find any money, but what he does find is this fucking the Book of the Dead, or one of the Books of the Dead, which I know now it's canon that there are 3, and this thing just keeps changing shape. I don't know if there's more than 3, or if this thing just constantly is like morphing and changing, which is a cool idea as well. But yeah, he ends up finding this fucking thing, and he doesn't read the passages. What he does is he's a big musician guy. I get the sense he wants to be a DJ. So he takes a record of one of the original guys to translate it. I guess he recorded himself doing it, and so it's on this record, and so he plays it. And I love the detail of, like, you know, as soon as that the passage starts being recited, I think it's the resurrection passage, or, you know, it's the fucking Kanda and all that shit. So once that shit starts getting said, man, like, there's no stopping it. He tries to fucking, you know, he's getting kind of scared, and he's trying to pause it. It won't stop. He tries to take the needle off, and it shocks him. You can already tell just that one phrase. It's like shit's already fucked up, man. Once that shit pops off, you're done. You're done. And sure enough, man, Ellie's going up in the elevator. I think she had some laundry or some shit. I think that's what it was. She was taking some laundry back. And yeah, man, we get that classic fucking Raimi shot. It fucking flies through the streets and eventually into the apartment. And yeah, man, that elevator scene is fucked, dude. Oh, God. It starts so gradual, you know, and then it just picks up and picks up and picks up. You know, I'm ripping her fucking earring out of her ear. And by the end of it, man, she's fucking has a cable around her neck, has two around her wrists. God, this poor girl just gets tortured, as is, you know, what usually happens to the initial Deadite, is they'll just get fucking just completely tortured before becoming possessed. But yeah, man, that last shot of her in the elevator before she stumbles back to the apartment, and her fucking arm just twists that way. It's like, oh, fuck. It's just... You know, blood and guts are one thing, but for some reason, just that fucking joint contortion is like, oh! But yeah, man, so she eventually stumbles back to the apartment, and from that initial scene of her, you know, getting the frying pan and just smashing these fucking eggs in there, and I love the little detail of the evil is so palpable in this environment now that, like, the eggs are starting to, I don't know if it's, you know, they're bloody eggs now, so I don't know if it's supposed to be that they're fertilized somehow or what the fuck is going on, but yeah, these eggs are just bloody fucking yolks, and she's smashing them into the pan and frying them, I guess, with eggshells all in it and shit. It's kind of like when I was a little kid trying to make eggs. But yeah, man, so she fucking, you know, it's just some great dialogue too. Just some brutal dialogue. I can't exactly remember, but just shit about, like, you know, I had the most wonderful dream and all I wanted to do was cut you open and crawl inside your bodies so we could all be one big happy family. Which is, you know, some pretty good foreshadowing considering where we end up by the end of the movie. That is another thing I will mention, is that the foreshadowing in this movie, if I had to give one flaw to the movie, if you can even call it that, was the foreshadowing is very, very heavy. It's like, oh, here's this, you know, very prolonged shot on this wood chipper. You know, oh, I wonder what that's going to be for, you know? It's like just a lot of shit like that. But... you know, it is what it is. But anyways, as soon as that scene happens with the eggs and all that, we just get some of the best Deadite moments in the entire fucking franchise, if you ask me. You know, when she peeks her head up above the tub and Danny's just like, Mom? And she goes, Mommy's with the maggots now. And all this shit. And fucking... the record player is an awesome fucking scene as well. And you know, Beth's trying to get some more answers about what the fuck to do. Ellie fucking breaks in there and, you know, basically just puts her fucking finger on the record and the record starts spinning. And she just opens her mouth wide as fuck to let the rest of the fucking audio play. And she just like... and this audio is just going through her mouth. Just awesome shit there, man. Probably the best one with Ellie, though, as far as, like, standalone moments would be the hallway, which is pretty hard to say because I'm just scratching the surface as far as all the cool shit that she does in this movie, but the hallway stuff is really good with you know, with Cassie and her just emotionally manipulating the fuck out of this little girl and just, you know, how about you come out here and just give me a big old hug? And it's like all this, oh god, it's fucked up. And again, man, not only is it fucked up, but it's like, it's heartbreaking, dude, because like they really took the time to show these characters, you know, really loving one another and really caring for one another. And also a shout out too that they're not just copy and paste like family. Like they're all pretty unique, you know. So yeah, man, like I said, just great stuff all around. But I'll stop with Beth, but man, that's, as far as Deadites go, she steals the fucking show for sure. Bridget also has some great moments, obviously taking the cheese grater to Beth's leg, just completely ripping it apart. Oh, god damn. That was some really brutal shit. And speaking of brutal shit, definitely the really, really good one with her is Staphne. So, early on in the film, again, big foreshadowing, Cassie chops off this fucking doll head and sticks it on this stick and names it Staphne. And the idea is, like, she thinks the apartment is haunted, and so Staphne's gonna protect her. So once Bridget eventually becomes possessed, which I love the way they possess Bridget too, as far as her, like, Beth takes a fucking it's not a tattoo gun, it's like I think it's a sewing needle or something like that. She sticks it in her head, and she uses her own blood to infect her fucking daughter, or the Deadite uses it to infect, whatever. And yeah, man, sure enough, she starts seeing that shit fucking, like, much like Ash's hand in Evil Dead 2. That shit just starts kind of creeping up her fucking face, and yeah, man, she's fucked. So she goes after Cassie, Bridget does, and she lunges at her one time, and earlier on in the film, they were tussling around and they actually broke the staff. So it's just this long, jagged, fucking sharp staff now with a fucking baby doll head on it. And Cassie just turns around, and I don't even think she meant to do it, but she turns around, and this fucking staff just goes like right through her fucking mouth, and it's like, oh god. And yeah, man, she just fucking takes that thing out. It's like, ugh. Also, a big shout out to the sound design in this movie. Some really, really good stuff there. And yeah, man, fuck. Oh, and I almost forgot with Bridget too. That scene, like, it's her initial reveal of being, like, possessed and just completely fucked, is when she's just taking that. She just has that wine glass and she's just chipping away at it and just kind of like. And she's like, I'm trying to get the creepy crawlies out of my tummy. And then she knows Beth's pregnant now, and so she goes like, do you have any creepy crawlies in your belly, Auntie Beth? And then you see that fucking, like, glass poking out of her fucking neck, and it's like, oh my god. Great shit, dude. They did not shy away from the brutality in this movie at all. I love it. But yeah, man, those two are definitely, like, the standout Deadites. Unfortunately, Danny also gets possessed, but he gets possessed at a certain part of the movie that he doesn't really get to have any big standout moments, which does suck, especially since he's the one who fucking caused all this shit in the first place. But yeah, man, but as far as Deadites go, those two are definitely the big ones. Also, everybody else on that floor gets possessed eventually besides Beth and Cassie. I love the scene where they blow fucking Beth's leg off and she's basically screwed, and they're trying to get into the elevator and it's not working like usual, but they're kind of desperate. They don't really have any other choice, and so Beth fucking looks up at him. She's like, everybody dies by dawn, Beth. And then all the fucking Deadites in unison are just dead by dawn, dead by dawn. And again, the sound design of it being almost penetrative in your fucking ears, like, it's just so. Should have brought a cup of water with me. I have some review rust here, guys. But anyways, it's just so loud and, dead by dawn. So eventually they don't have any choice. So they run into the elevator. Now, I do have one problem. There is what, in my opinion, would be a plot hole. And it's my other gripe of the movie. Again, doesn't ruin anything for me, but it's just something that's very noticeable. So, it's established with this that a Deadite's blood will infect and possess somebody. Pretty quickly, too. We see that with Bridget. So why is it that Bridget gets possessed by the blood, but, like, Beth clearly has a couple open wounds? And, when they're in the elevator, for instance, and the fucking thing gets filled with blood, which I imagine would have the same effect. And also, the scene where Ellie fucking stabs Beth with a shard of glass right through her hand. And Elle was bleeding. But, I guess they could kind of explain their way around it in some cases. But then, with the wood chipper kill, her and fucking Cassie get covered in the shit. Now, granted, that's more towards the end of the film, so I guess you could argue that, hey, maybe they got possessed later on, I don't know. But yeah, man, that's just, there were some scenes there where I'm like, they definitely should be fucked up by now, which that would have been like fucking great if like after because the elevator gets filled with blood, it eventually just capsizes and or collapses, I should say, and they just explode out into the lobby, which is really cool because now they're just fucking soaked in the red stuff, and it's great. But it would have been really cool if, like, when she was checking on Cassie, who was, like, I guess they were trying to get you to believe she was drowned or whatever. It would have been awesome if, like, she opened her eyes and she was fucking just this little deadite. Like, I didn't expect it because, little kid armor in horror movies. It's just a thing. Not in all horror movies, but I kind of got the sense that she wasn't going to die. But morbidly, I'm like, dude, that would be so hardcore. They just fucking were like, here's this little fucking kid. It's just this killer now. But they did not go that direction. And, that plot hole doesn't really ruin anything for me. I still fucking love this movie. But, yeah, definitely noticeable. But anyways, we still gotta talk about the final boss of this motherfucker, which is the Marauder, which I guess is supposed to be the name of this thing now, is the Marauder. So, yeah, essentially, with the foreshadowing and all that, with, Ellie saying, I wish I could just cut you up and crawl inside your body. Well, the roles are reversed, and now her two deadite children just rip her apart and just crawl inside her body. And now they're this fucking deadite hydra that is just fucking running around and causing all sorts of shit. And it's just fucking... It sounds so, like... For me personally, it sounds like something I wouldn't enjoy, but the way it was executed, I was like, oh, that's fucking sick. I love that so much. That is such a cool idea. And yeah, man, I just think it works great as a final boss. And yeah, man, there's a good little chase scene in the garage there at the end. They end up taking Cassie for a little bit. Like, they're just about to get out the garage door, and she ends up getting swiped. But yeah, man, they fucking swipe her, and and then they tease cutting this little child's head off with a chainsaw. And I was like, all right, if you don't have the balls to make her a deadite, you're definitely not gonna fucking chop off her fucking head, which also would have shocked the shit out of me. But sure enough, Auntie Beth is here to save the day. And, she's now had this full transition from scared, irresponsible, if you want to say that, aunt to, like, badass, heroic, motherly figure, which was really cool to see. It's a really good, solid character arc for her. And yeah, man, she takes this thing on head on, and eventually we end up with this fucking deal where they're trying to shove her into this fucking wood chipper. Cassie pulls a solid, turns that motherfucker off, and then Beth falls, and she's able to kick this fucking thing in. She's like, turn it on, Cass! She fucking turns that motherfucker on, and dude, we'll get to the wood chipper kill, but it gets grinded up pretty good. But yeah, man. So, dude, fucking phenomenal movie. They end up walking away triumphant. And we get an awesome wraparound ending, which, holy fuck, I didn't even talk about the opening of this movie. I love the opener. I know we're... No order here. I'm a little rusty, alright? Give me a fucking break. But I love the opening of this and like kind of starting us out in a familiar environment. I thought it was a cool choice. And again, some great kills there with the scalping, and also just before that with this young blonde deadite girl just kind of sleeping, and all of a sudden she looks, her friend looks up from her book, and she's just sitting straight up. And I love the idea of just her reading off the the pages of this horror novel that her friend's reading, and she can't even see it because she's just reading this fucking novel to her. And she's like, shut up, shut up, shut up. Really, really good stuff. But yeah, man, she gets scalped. She fucking tackles her boyfriend into the fucking lake and rips his goddamn head off. She takes the drone and just carves up her own face. It's just some really, really good shit. Especially, you know, it sets the tone as far as what this movie's gonna, you know, look and feel like, at least, you know, as far as the blood's concerned. But to have, you know, that situation, the beginning of that situation wrap around to the ending of this movie, was really, really cool. And it kind of makes me hopeful to see, like, you know, will we get a sequel with that Deadite girl, you know, like, where are we gonna go with this? It could be cool to maybe transition off into her story. I don't know if they will or not, but it'd be nice. Like, maybe the friends that were supposed to be there just get there late, and then we have a whole new Evil Dead movie in the woods. But, you know, who knows? Who knows what's next? I just hope whatever is next, we don't get it in another 10 fucking years. I would like it a little quicker than that. Thank you. But yeah, man, that'll do it for Evil Dead Rise, man. Holy shit. Absolutely fucking killer. Just a rad fucking movie. Great movie to come back to as well. Yeah, man, the whole series review has been great. Obviously, we will do a ranking video pretty soon. But for right now, man, that is where we will leave off as far as the film review is concerned. But you know what we got to do now, baby? We got to talk about the blood, the guts. Ugh, never mind. And the gory bits. We got to talk about my kill the film. Stick around. If you haven't gathered already, Evil Dead Rise is bloody and gory as fuck. It is a very, very graphic film. As far as kills go, definitely some extremely memorable shit. And also just a lot of graphic stuff that's not necessarily a kill. So I'll start off with that. There's definitely some moments that, obviously with Deadites, it's pretty hard to kill them, so they get brutalized a lot in this film, and they just don't die, so I can't really call any of this a kill of the film. But big shout out to, again, like Bridget getting stabbed right through the mouth with Staphne by Cassie. Really, really good shit there. Again, that sound design of her just like ripping it slowly out of her mouth. Just, it's like, don't fucking edit that, by the way, weirdos. Anyways, definitely a memorable one there. You know, Beth getting her leg blown, or not Beth, excuse me. But while we're talking about Beth, getting a cheese grater to the fucking calf, and you just see it just rip into her fucking skin. It's like, all right, fuck. That was definitely a good one for sure. But big shout out to Ellie getting her leg blown off, and then her kids just rip inside her body and crawl in there and create the Marauder. Really, really fun stuff. Which I don't know why I define that as fun, but it is what it is, right? But yeah, just a lot of really standout gore and blood and just visceral fucking violence. That doesn't necessarily mean a kill. But anyways, so as far as kills are concerned, definitely big shout out to the lake stuff. Again, speaking of stuff that's not a kill, but you know, the girl getting just completely scalped and just fucking disgusting. You know, she grabs her by the fucking throat and she just slowly kind of twists her fucking hand around her pigtail and or her braid or whatever and just rip. And it's like, oh shit. That was some good stuff. Then, you know, ripping her boyfriend's head off and just throwing it out onto the dock, and then he's still like, he's obviously beheaded, but he's still kind of like moving a little bit, so he's like, it's like, oh god. Little details, man, they matter, especially with the kills, you know. Also, all the shit that goes down in the hallway, some really, really crazy stuff there. You know, the guy who says the prayer over Beth when they think she's dead. You know, or not Beth. He mixes them two up. When he prays over Ellie after they think she's dead. And, you know, Ellie fucking jumping onto him and just taking a bite out of his face like it's a fucking apple. Just bites out his whole fucking eye in his socket. And he's just like, oh, God, it's fucking crazy. Then, you know, she's choking on it, so she spits it out. And it's a reference to past Evil Dead shit. You know, she spits it out and it lands in the other guy's fucking mouth, so he chokes to death on it. And, you know, kill, again, I always say little kid armor, but there's another fairly young kid in this movie who gets killed, mostly off screen, but he does, you know, you hear some ripping and tearing going on with him. And he fucking, she just throws him up against the wall, so he's dead. Also, the guy with the missing eye, he gets his fucking throat ripped out. The old man with the shotgun, with the boomstick, gets killed out there too. Just some really, really good stuff out there for sure. That whole hallway sequence, everything that goes on through that little fisheye lens is just some of the best stuff in this movie, if you ask me. But yeah, man, kill of the film though easily is going to go to the wood chipper. You know, turn it on, Cass. She fucking flips it on and just boots this fucking thing in. Chainsaws into them and then pushes the Marauder into the fucking wood chipper. And it'd be one thing if it's just the general like shaking and shit and you see the blood squirting out, but you see like chunks of this fucking monstrosity just peeling off of this thing and getting sucked into the wood chipper. And yeah, man, you see Deadite Danny and Deadite Bridget fucking one by one get grinded up in this fucking thing. And by the end of it, it's just Ellie's fucking head. And she's just kind of laying there. And she just looks up at Bridget. And she's like, you know, you really do look like Mom. Or she looks up at Beth. She goes, you know, you really do look like Mom. And she's just fucking looking at her. She's like, and you're gonna be a fucking failure just like her, you stupid groupie fuck! And then she fucking boosts her fucking head into the wood chipper. Man, great stuff. Good payoff for the long-running joke of, you know, Beth getting called a groupie, too. But yeah, man. And overall, Evil Dead Rise is just fucking phenomenal. If you love Evil Dead and for some reason you haven't seen this, which I don't think there's many of you, but hey, I don't know. If you haven't seen this one, fucking go out of your way, dude. It is so fucking rad. Excellent movie. And yeah, man, that'll do it for the review. Again, thank you guys for all the support. It feels really good to be back. And next time on Days of Darkness, we are going to be ranking the Evil Dead movies from best to worst and everything in between. And I am ready to make some people fucking mad. Obviously, that's not the intention, but it's the internet, so, you know, it is what it is. But until then, guys, thank you as always. Once again, it feels so fucking good to be back. I love it. I love you. And yeah, man, without further ado, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and for the love of all things gory, keep watching horror. All right, guys. Have a good one.